leaving everything behind. Just kidding. It's time that I leave my healing girl era behind, and I'm ready for something new. I'm ready to move forward and focus on the next chapter. For those of you that don't know, I've been struggling with health issues for the past 4 years. This journey has not been easy at all, and I've learned a lot. So I want to go over the things that I learned, how I'm going into the next chapter, what's my next era. Let's talk about all of these things. For those of you who don't know my journey in the past 4 years, I've had multiple organ failures. I had to fly to a different country to get health treatments, the medical trauma, the psychosis that I experienced, needing to relearn how to walk. I've spent the beginning of my 30s healing my body, taking care of my health because I had no other choice but to do that. And it's been a really tough 4 years. Physically, emotionally, and mentally, it has really depleted me, but it has also given me a lot of clarity in a lot of different areas of my life. As much as I really am grateful for this period of time, after you've been through something as tough as this, you need to reframe it in a positive way. Otherwise, I don't know how you really survive in life. Through that time period, not only was I not able to do a lot of the things that I used to be able to do, not having energy, not feeling strong enough, not feeling like I was capable of doing a lot of things. It was a time where I felt like my confidence and my self-worth were like crushed, even though I had a lot of good moments within the 4 years. So I also lost loved ones during this time. So it was also a time where I lost people, and there was grieving for that. And then there was also grieving of past version of myself and grieving for the time that I lost, because really it was the beginning of my 30s and I was looking forward to so many things, and it really brought me down. I'm even processing this while I'm talking about this with you guys. It really was a time where I was like grieving myself, and then also so much uncertainty, not only with my own health, but like with what do I want to do in my future? What about my goals that I wanted to achieve? And all of these things. If you're like in that boat where you're kind of in the same place, one thing to realize is age doesn't matter. No matter where you're starting at, you can always start over. It is a very scary place to be, which I feel fear all the time. I sometimes fall into my fears and let them take over. That's not who I am as a person. And so having to go through that has been really humbling and also really educational in a way where I get to learn a lot of things about myself and my own resilience. I mean, honestly, I am really proud of myself for going through all those things and then also finally getting out of my comfort zone. I'm really grateful that you're here today, but it's time for me to really reinvent myself. Through the past 4 years, I've said that so many times, so it feels disappointing when I keep repeating myself and saying, I'm gonna restart, and then I restart and then I can't follow through, and then I get too tired and I don't have energy. My health, I need to prioritize my health, all of these things, right? We have a lot of things going on. It would just make me more depressed, and it would make me feel like I'm not capable of doing hard things anymore. But it's not that case. It's just like you really need to let your body heal after a time period where you've gone through something as traumatic as dialysis, which is something that I went through. Going through dialysis, going through kidney, heart, and lung failure, all of these things can really mentally mess you up. It's a time of reinvention for me and figuring out, what do I want from my life? Where am I going from here? What are my goals? What's the possibilities for my life? And I feel like I'm regaining my spirit again, regaining my energy again, finally being able to figure that out and also take action to follow through. I'll share a couple things that I do plan on doing in this time period, because it is also a transition period and I have no certainty whatsoever right now in what I'm doing. And so sharing this with you guys is extremely scary because I don't like to appear that I don't have my shit together. But the thing is, a lot of people do not have their shit together. And so this is me reassuring you that it's okay. One of the major lessons that I learned through this time period was learning to let go of control. And if you know me, you probably don't know that I have never been relaxed ever in my life. I've always been very uptight, very self-conscious of myself, very perfectionism. I always have to dress to the nines. For the past 4 years, I really have not dressed up like a lot. It makes me feel sad that I couldn't prioritize that. But I know in that season, that was what I needed to do. I needed to be relaxed. I needed to not care about what people were thinking of me. It allowed me to just be like, you know what? I'm fine. Not wearing makeup, doing all of those things really helped me too, because it brings you a different kind of confidence when you're able to do that. But I really believe that dressing up and looking nice is also something that you have to do. Letting go of control just means I had zero control. Like looking back at the time when I was in the hospital for like 2 months, I had zero control. I was bedridden. Okay, I had no control over what was gonna happen to me. I had no idea if I was gonna live or die. I had to be reliant on other people, nurses, doctors, my relatives. A lot of people showed up for me, and I'm absolutely grateful for everybody that did, even the people that prayed for me, because I know that my healing, yes, I did a lot of work, but also it could not be possible without all these people praying for me too. So I had to let go of control, and that was the hardest thing I had to do, because I had to let go of my business. I had to let go of my dreams. I had to let go of someone that I really cared about. I had to let a lot of things and people go that I didn't necessarily want to let go of, and I couldn't let go of. For my business, for example, I was still posting on social media, trying to promote my business and trying to do the work still, even when I was on my hospital bed. And that was when I was, yo, you gotta relax. I just stopped. And that was the first time I had done that in so long. This whole illness told me to sit down and let go. And then most of all, have faith. My mantra when I was in the hospital was have faith over fear. I would repeat that all the time. When you're trying to control everything, what you're saying is you don't have faith that you can achieve what you want, or fear that you're not going to get what you want. So I had to let go. I've been in personal development for like over 10 years. I've been to the seminars, I've read the books, I've done the workshops, I've done a lot of work on myself, I've done the journaling. That was a time where I had to let go, but I also had to control the things that I could control. And the only thing I could really control was my mind and my attitude. And that's where my personal development came in. So all those years of personal development, it helped me so much because I was able to pull all those tools out and finally use them in a time when I really felt like all hope was lost. Mindset is one of those things where you have to pull it out when it's hard. See, the thing is, when everything was going really well, it's sometimes hard to do personal development because you're like, there's nothing wrong in my life. I don't need to improve anything. But you have no idea how powerful those tools are. So those tools that I used was like gratitude, journaling, focusing on things that brought me joy, watching old school shows, healing my inner child too, watching my shows that I watched as a kid, getting reconnected with that. And letting go of control also means being more patient. Through this journey, I have been impatient for a lot of times. I'm realizing how I should have just relaxed. And now I'm just like, what's for you is for you. No matter how much you rush it, it's still for you. And that's one of the things that I had to learn. You really have to be patient. And through my healing process, I would have to get blood work done. And so I wanted my blood work to get better every single time. When it didn't, for like a good year, it just stayed the same, which is actually a good thing. I felt impatient. I was like, I'm ready to live my life. And I would try to push myself and do things, get on the dating apps, or try to like really push myself within businesses. But then I would burn out so fast because I was not resting enough. I was stressed in my mind. So you need to let go, be patient, utilize personal development, focus on the faith that you have in yourself and in the universe and in everything that's going to work out for you. And then also using that mindset and applying that. That's a huge lesson that I'm still learning. So the next thing that I had to do during this time period was really about redefining what does success look like? What does that mean for me? Figuring out my own self-worth outside of external things. Yeah, this is getting deep. I'm like really sharing a lot of things that has been on my heart that I feel like needs to be shared. At that point, when I got out of the hospital, it's like everything's great. Like everything seems like so possible, but like your body isn't matching up with it yet because you're needing to heal your body. So you need to rest. You need to take it easy. But it made me question my own goal, my own purpose, and my own existence in this life. Like, why am I here? It made me question like my goals. Like, why do I want these goals? Why did I want what I wanted? Was it because everybody was telling me I wanted those things and society was like, you should have all these things by now. Why don't you have these things yet? It messed up my mind. Also, I was like spending a lot more time on social media, and that gets you in the wheel of comparing yourself. It was also a time for me to unmask within myself because I feel I was always masking myself to avoid emotions and to avoid the grief that I was dealing with because I had lost my dad at the age of 20. It really affected me in such a way that you still feel grief, like it never goes away. I think I was always trying to pursue goals to kind of prove my worth. It was just like, oh, I want to make my dad proud. I want to do all these things, but it's like, do I want to do these things for myself? That was in this healing era. That's what I was really questioning. And like when you question your goals, you're questioning your own existence, your own purpose. I know my purpose here is to make a difference in the world positively in whichever way that I end up doing it. And that's always been my goal. It's just like makes you question like, why do you pursue the things that you pursue? Are you doing it to prove your worth to somebody else? Are you trying to prove your worth to society? Or are you trying to derive some worthiness out of that? And the thing is, worthiness doesn't come from external things like the job titles that you have or the titles that you have for yourself. And at that time I was like, what titles do I have for myself? But it really got in my head, like, why am I trying to do all of these things? And I was like, you know what? Success to me looks a lot different. In my 20s, it was all about hustle, 5 a.m. club. It's about making a lot of money and doing a lot of things. But at the end of the day, success for me is not any of those things. It's like the freedom of choice. It's the ability to travel whenever I want. It's these little things. It's having more choices. So for me, success is more about like, what kind of an impact do I want to make on other people? And I still get kind of thrown off sometimes because I'll get distracted by what other people are doing on the internet. And that's when I'm like, I try to pull back from the internet a little bit and stop scrolling as much. I realized my worth was based on productivity. And when I stopped working, I felt so unworthy. I was constantly trying to find things to do. So in the past 4 years, I've taken so many workshops. I've done a Tony Robbins workshop. I've done different certificates. I have really been learning a lot and it's been great. But I also feel like I derive worthiness doing things. But worthiness is actually something that's within yourself, where you believe that you are a worthy person just because you were born. Because essentially that's the truth. Because I mean, the possibilities of you being born is like, it's not high. Okay. And so like for you to be born is like 1 in a billion, you know what I mean? And there's only one of you. I just realized I really have to redefine what success is. And it just looks completely different from what I used to think success was. I think that's important for you to define what that is for yourself. If you're in this kind of like transition period, you really have to realize, why are you doing the things that you do? And sometimes you have no idea. But now I'm so clear. Like I was really doing things to chase like productivity, to prove people wrong, to prove myself that I could do it. I still feel like that. I still feel a sense of inner competition with myself. Hey, I want to be better. Hey, I want to do better than this. It's really knowing your own worth, and finding out your worthiness comes from within you and your belief in yourself. And it comes from your self-concept. That's where I'm at, trying to figure out what success looks like. I kind of have a clearer picture a little bit of what I want for my own life. The last lesson that I learned, and then after this, we're going to go into what's my next era. So the last one is really about trusting yourself, because when that happens to your body, you kind of feel like you don't trust yourself anymore. Trusting myself has been more about trusting my belief in myself. Like, hey, you can do this. Hey, you're capable. Hey, remember you did this thing that you did really well and you were successful at? You can do it again. You can do it better because you know more things now to make it better. Trusting myself has to also mean you're doing it for a different reason. Like you're not doing it to prove to people that they're wrong, even though you want to prove people wrong because they were so mean to you and you didn't realize they were mean to you until way later. This healing era also made me realize a lot of things about my relationships with people, and also realizing my own faults within them too, and not fully blaming everybody else. What I mean by trusting yourself is also trusting in the process, trusting in the healing process that yes, I'm going to get well, having unwavering faith that you're going to be well again. That's one of the reasons why I was able to heal, was one, because I had discernment on what to do and what not to do. I did my research, and also years in the health and wellness industry allowed me to have that discernment, but also have the wisdom to go through this time period in my life. And so ultimately I had to get back to myself. I started journaling again. I stopped journaling for a little bit and it like threw me. I got really lost when I stopped journaling, because journaling is basically like talking to yourself and like bringing clarity to your mind, into your heart, into your soul. I really believe that. And so I started doing that. And how you build trust is by doing things and then following through with them. And my issue was, through this process, like I said earlier, I tried to restart this journey over and over and over again, but I kept failing. So I lost trust in myself in a little bit, because I was like, why can't I get this going? Why can't I pick this up? And the reality is, sometimes you want to go, 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 but the universe doesn't want you to go, 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 because you need to work on the lessons that you have right now. And my lessons for this was definitely about healing, taking care of myself, prioritizing myself, having boundaries. Anyways, I've had to rebuild that trust again. And one of the ways that I do that is by making content and posting it on YouTube. And I'm learning to trust myself again by following through with the things that I say I'm gonna do and doing them. That's the simplest way to build trust, and also to build confidence. It's only through action. It's not through overthinking and thinking too much, because I do that too much, and it honestly is a waste of time. Stop overthinking. Take action. Perfectionism has no place in your life, because it's gonna hold you back so much, because it's gonna make you procrastinate. It's gonna make you think you're not good enough, when really you are good enough. You're more than enough. You've always been more than enough. Okay, it's just been some conditioning, some limiting beliefs you learned from some people, and you gotta unlearn those things. So that's kind of like the things that I was doing too. Those are the 3 main things that I would say I learned during this period of time. There's so many more things that I learned, but even though I'm exiting my healing era, I'm still gonna need to take care of my health. I'm not gonna neglect that. I'm not going to neglect these years that I've learned so many things. I'm going to keep taking care of myself because I need to be healthy. So what's next? And honestly, I'm figuring it out. I have no idea where I'm going after this. All I know is I want to be healthy. I want to make a positive impact in the world. I want to have a meaningful life. I want to be satisfied with my life. And I want to feel good with what I'm doing. And I want to feel confident on a day-to-day basis. For the most part, I want to feel more vibrant and more happy and healthy, I guess. I know, as cheesy as that sounds, I think everybody ultimately wants these things at the end of the day. In my next era, what am I really going to be trying to do? And there's a lot of uncertainty, but I'm certain with the way that I want to feel. And I think that is the most important thing. If you can figure out what do you want to feel, lean into those feelings and lean into what is something that lights you up and follow that. But the first thing that I would want to do in this next era, but I hope you follow along with my journey, so make sure to subscribe. I hope I can share my journey with you and take you along with me and share more of my life. First thing that I want to focus on is my routine and habits. You can't go into a new era with your old habits. And so a lot of my new ones is going to bed and waking up at the same time every day. I preach this all the time, but sometimes in execution for myself, it's hard. And I'm going to be real. So I'm going to be working on my routines and my habits. Like, what am I doing every day? My morning routine, my afternoon routine. I'm going to be prioritizing my self-concept. Like, what am I going to believe about myself in this next era? Who am I going to be? What are my possibilities? What am I going to look like? How am I going to dress? Like, all of these things. And it's also a time to declare my goals. The thing is, every time I declare my goals, I get a dopamine hit and then I end up not following through. So I'm going to be actually mindful of my sharing of my goals and actually just focus on executing and taking more action towards my goals and really defining them. One of them is definitely growing this YouTube channel. So, help a sister out. Follow, like, share my videos. That would be great. But also getting myself out of the house more often. See, I love being at home. I am a homebody. I just want to be at home all the time. But I want to get out of the house more. I want to explore more. I want to see more of the world. I don't know how I'm going to do that, but I know I'm going to do it. And then lastly, I want to enjoy life. Find a sense of self-worth outside of the external noise and the external things. It's really about finding the joys and maybe getting new hobbies and learning new things. And I'm excited to continue sharing what I go through with you guys, and I hope you guys follow. Thank you guys for watching. I will see you in the next video.